Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Ned over My Philippine Dream. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Ned over My Philippine Dreams. Lynn is out playing cards right now, hopefully making some money for us. And Angel's sitting down over there, taking in the expansive view from our front porch. I wanted to do a video, and I know I haven't done a video in a long time. Taking some time off. We were actually traveling for a couple of days. We were in Dipolog down in Mindanao visiting Lynn's family. That was a good time. Shout out to all of them. Thank you for the hospitality and the karaoke craziness. And ever since I got back from Dipolog, I've had a bacterial infection. And believe me, it's been a literal pain in the ass. Yes, that is a picture of my ass on my Facebook page. I'm hoping it's not something horrible like MRSA. They have me on antibiotics and tramadol for the pain. I don't like taking tramadol. I have really bad side effects with tramadol as far as insomnia and those opioid-like effect that you get from those type of analgesics. I don't like it. So I haven't been able to sit down too much, and as you can see, I'm leaning a little bit to the right now because I'm trying to keep pressure off of that tender area. Let's talk about free speech. Let's talk about the First Amendment, the U.S. Constitution, and let's talk about private platforms. The great thing about being an American is the constitutional rights we have. One of those is the guarantee of free speech. You're able to say basically whatever you want other than fire in a theater or something. And I actually think you can say fire in a theater. I don't even think that's a violation of free speech. There was a recent crackdown, and so this is kind of apropos, this is kind of ironic, I guess you could say, that it's happening at this time. Alex Jones was taken off of a few platforms. He was taken off of Facebook, YouTube. I think Twitter is going to be taking him down. Google took him down. And people got very upset about that because they're saying, oh, that's a violation of his free speech. You're taking away his platform. That's not right. The problem is Facebook, YouTube, and all this stuff, they are privately held platforms, so they can basically dictate what people can talk about and what they can't talk about. For example, and the list is pretty extensive. You can't be talking about bullying, harassing people. You can't be violating people's privacy. You can't be aiming hate at certain groups or any type of group, actually. So that's stuff you have to keep in mind. I guess YouTube, Facebook, and all them figured that Jones wasn't actually keeping up and being in compliance with those guidelines, so they took him down. I've had videos taken down. I've gotten community strike violations. I've had a lot of videos demonetized because of the content. For example, any of the videos that I do on crime, and I'm not even going to say what those crimes are because part of the algorithm that they use to demonetize stuff is based on what you say in the video. But anything to do with crime, all the crime videos I've done, those are all demonetized. And a lot of the live streams that I do, I don't know if it's the content that I'm saying or comments or people leaving, I'm not sure how it works, those are taken down as well. So I understand that to be on YouTube, you have to operate within their parameters. You have to basically comply with the strictures that they lay down. It's just the way it is. It's their playground. You got to play by their rules. Now, let's talk about misinformation. When I first started this video channel, I was basically trying to recount my adventures as a clueless foreigner coming to a foreign land, totally wet behind the ears, making a whole bunch of misadventures and mistakes along the way, and just putting that out for everybody to see. I talked about the good, the bad, and I've tried to talk about the ugly of life here and my experiences. For the most part, I enjoy what I'm doing. I particularly enjoy doing travel videos, even though people don't really care about travel videos. All they want to really hear about is drama, scams, and girls. That's basically pretty much all they want to hear about. And those are the videos that get the most views. But that was my intention when I first started this YouTube channel, to do that. And I think, looking back and seeing the material that I've put out and the content that I've created, I've done a pretty good job doing it. The information that I've put out there, I've tried to verify, make sure everything's true. If I make a mistake, if I say something wrong, I try to retract it, clarify it, and admit I was wrong. Actually, there's a retraction, clarification, apology coming in a future video very shortly. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know. Okay, now with all that said, there's a lot of misinformation out there, and there's a lot of sketchy stuff going on. Let's take 3 examples. First up, we got a gentleman named Petey Van Dumpster. He has recently he got an emergency repatriation back to the United States because he hadn't paid his BI immigration fees for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. You got another one, Mark Catley, who was recently arrested. That's that Baybots Only character. He's been around for a long time. He's had a bunch of channels taken down over the years. And you got another guy named, we'll call him Darren Gilson. These are 3 examples of some of the misinformation and sketchy stuff that can be going on in YouTube, and we have to be aware of it. Especially as content creators, one of the reasons I took down some recent videos is someone brought to my attention and said, "Hey Ned, you're an influencer." And I'm like, "What? What's an influencer?" And he says, "You have a platform, you got 30,000 plus subscribers, people listen to what you say, so sometimes you have to be careful what you say." And I took that to heart, and I realized that, yeah, okay, so we have to be careful. So when we're lending our platform to other people sometimes we want to do interviews, or sometimes we want to do hangouts, or sometimes we want to do live streams with other people, we got to realize what the situation is, and that we are influencers, and as such, we give people legitimacy when they come on into our live streams, and we give people credibility when they come onto our live streams, and we're also giving people a platform to talk about what sometimes is complete nonsense. And what we have to do as content creators is critically challenge some of that misinformation that's going out. So let's look at some of the misinformation that's been going out. First up, we got this guy, PD Van Dumpster. He basically created his channel by attacking me and Life Beyond the Sea, Rike over at Life Beyond the Sea, because there's also a lot of tribalism. When it comes to different channels, you got different tribes, you got different adherents, you got different followers, you got different subscribers. Sometimes people get kicked off one channel and they go to another channel to complain about the channel they just got kicked off. Sometimes they get kicked off of that channel and go into another channel. Any of you know Mrs. Heminger, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So people can be pretty tribal. And with that tribalism, PD Van Dumpster's channel basically became a tribe of people that had been cast out from our tribe, who had been voted off the island, who had been blocked or banned from our YouTube channels. Now, the thing to keep in mind about PD Van Dumpster is he represented himself as being something he wasn't. He stated that he had a couple condos in Makati. He stated that he had super high-speed fiber internet that cost like 20,000 pesos a month. He talked about how his budget was like 3,000 US dollars. So those were the first warning flags. Then he started talking about other things like being a US Army veteran of Afghanistan and Iraq. Somebody had a friend who worked in the Department of Defense personnel, and they actually found out that that wasn't true. Then there came stories of him ripping people off, claiming to be a missionary and going to different religious Facebook groups across the United States and soliciting funds to basically fund his lifestyle here in the Philippines. He also started personally attacking some other vloggers, stating that their girlfriends were bar girls, and we all know what bar girls are, refusing to retract those statements or apologize for it, and in fact, basically doubling down on his claims. Then as time went on, and again, he's a narcissist. This guy's a narcissist. PD Van Dumpster is a narcissist, so he insisted on using his real name. So people were finding more and more information. Another thing they found out was that he was a convicted sex offender in the United States, which came as a shock because he was basically calling every other vlogger in the Philippines a sexpat. He would consistently do that, and for a convicted sex offender to be doing that was rather ironic. And again, this is all public record. You can actually go, I don't know if it's Missouri or Kansas, you go to their online record database and you can bring up all these criminal convictions of this gentleman. Another one of his platform stances was he was totally opposed to older folks, 50, 60, 70 years old, having kids in the Philippines. He found that repugnant because we weren't going to survive long enough to be able to support the children. This, despite the fact that he himself was a deadbeat dad who hadn't paid child support in years. And again, this information has been verified, it's been vetted, and it's all true. I myself never publicly challenged this individual, and I didn't publicly challenge other people like Baybots, Mark Catley, and other people, because I didn't want my larger platform giving a voice to the other platforms. I didn't want to lend credibility or just even bring people's attention to it, because I didn't want to basically increase his viewership by casting the spotlight on him. So over time, there was a bunch of smaller YouTube channels and some other individuals that got together. They formed this entity called the Alliance, and they started culling and they started finding all kinds of information on PD Van Dumpster, and they started publishing web pages. As a matter of fact, they took his own website from him. He didn't pay the fee on his website, so they were able to purchase his own domain name and create the actual truth about PD Van Dumpster, which I thought was incredibly hilarious. And to this day, it's still the PD Van Dumpster site. So props to those guys for bringing the truth to light. You guys did a fantastic job. Now, there's this other guy. We'll call him Darren Gilson. Darren Gilson basically created a channel attacking other vloggers as well. As a matter of fact, he created his channel by attacking who is probably the nicest vlogger of us all here in the Philippines. He's a gentleman that lives here in Dumaguete. He's been married for many, many, many decades. He's a very happy person. He's a very outgoing person. And he's just basically an all-around nice guy. But for some reason, Darren Gilson decided to personally attack him and say some horrific things about him on his YouTube channel. I'm not going to repeat what was said. For those of you who were there, you know what I'm talking about. Since then, those videos have all been taken down. He's been banned off of YouTube. He's had to create other YouTube channels. And come to find out, again, he's another one of these, all guys in the Philippines are sexpats. He's actually a sexpat himself up in Thailand right now. And he's actually got a few very sketchy websites up right now aiming towards young women, trying to send in photos and personal information, which I believe he's just scraping for his personal use. So as to who was worse, Petey Van Dumpster or this Darren Gilson, I'm not really sure. They're both abhorrent human beings. All right, so that's Petey Van Dumpster, that's Darren Gilson. Now let's talk about Mark Catley. Mark Catley's channels have been around for many, 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 many years. He's had numerous YouTube channels taken down for policy guidelines and community strikes. And if you've seen his videos, you know why he was getting those community strikes. I'm not going to recount it. I'm not going to rehash all that stuff. Everybody knows at this point what was going on. And again, this was another guy who wasn't critically challenged by the community. And again, this was another situation where the bigger channels couldn't shine light on the smaller channel because, again, that would have brought attention to him, driven traffic to their site, and possibly contributed to what we now know as an ongoing criminal enterprise. So this whole idea of free speech on private platforms, this is something that you really have to think about. And this is something because there's a lot of misinformation out there. A lot of times people are looking for bias confirmation. People are looking for other people who support their views. And with this tribalism, people are going to take this stuff very seriously. So we have a duty, I think, as content creators to make sure we're vetting the people that we are interviewing and talking to. We got to give serious thought and do some research into live streams and hangouts and stuff that we're doing with other people. And Gary, there's a guy Gary, I don't know if he's over in Cebu or Bohol right now. Gary keeps sending me links to do Google Hangouts with you. I don't know who you are, dude. I don't know who you are, so I'm not going to do a hangout with you. The only person I've ever considered doing hangouts with, and I actually spoke to him not too long ago about this, and this is something that we still might do, was that nice vlogger in Dumaguete that Darren Gilson was attacking relentlessly with his first videos. That's the only person I've ever considered doing regular hangouts with. So I don't know if I knocked this out of the park or if I was just rambling on too much. Keep in mind that I got a pretty bad bacterial infection right now as I'm leaning to the right. I just wanted to talk about misinformation. I wanted to talk about free speech. Free speech is not guaranteed on private platforms. And I wanted to talk about critically challenging some of the information that is out there so that people can have a better understanding of the subject material at hand. All right, that diatribe's over. I'm going to try to edit this and see how it comes out. Until next time, this is Ned over at My Philippine Dreams, and I got some more travel video coming up from our recent trips to Sipalay and to Polag. Take care, everybody.